All right, hey, it's Rob, and I'm standing in front of my favorite field in all of Georgia here. Of course, now there's a no trespassing sign on the fence, so we'll stay safely out here. But this was the former location of the Georgia Guidestones. Giant granite monument to population control that stood here right in this field for 40 years. Can't even tell now, the grass is growing. It looks like nothing was ever here, but it was, and it was very controversial, of course, so much so that someone came just a little more than a year ago, July 6th, 2022, and they blew it up. So I've come back to Elberton, Georgia, Elbert County, the granite capital of the world, just to check things out here a year later, see what has changed, and if I can find out, see what the plans are going forward for the Georgia Guidestones. There are still remnants of them left, and we're going to visit, or try to visit if they're open, the Elberton Granite Museum and see if I can get a couple answers at least to questions I have about the future of the once mighty Georgia Guidestones, which stood right here in this field and are now in an undisclosed location somewhere in the area here. Maybe we'll poke around and see if we can find them. Alright, well, it was worth a look at least. I mean, they may as well just leave them sitting outside somewhere. They were outside for 40 years. What could happen to them? Alright, well, let's move on to the Granite Museum because they're definitely not here. Alright, and right across from the Granite City Restaurant, it's the Elberton Granite Museum and Exhibit. So at some point they claim the Georgia Guidestones will be on display here. Right now, like I said, they're in some secure location. It's got to be nearby. Those are big stones. I can't imagine they'd want to move them too far. But let's go inside, see, well, first of all, if they're open, and second of all, if I can get anybody to talk to me about the future of the Georgia Guidestones. I mean, if I'm going to get, I'm going to get. First of all, I'm Rob. Thank you for doing this.
I'm Bruce. Glad to meet you.
Thank you, Bruce. So we're here in Elberton. This is the Granite Museum, and it's been just about a year since the Guidestones, unfortunately, were destroyed by persons unknown. We still don't know who it is. Nope. They're still investigating, I assume.
We hope. We reckon.
I don't know what they can figure out at this point if they haven't figured it out yet.
Figured out by now, it probably won't ever get solved. Right. Unless somebody slip of the tongue or something.
Right. And you were telling me somebody said they wanted to have them knocked down, and then soon after that's what happened. And who was that person?
I'm not sure of her name, but she was running for governor.
Yeah, it was Candace Taylor, I believe.
Okay, Candace Taylor, okay. And she said that was the first thing on her priority to have those taken down.
Yeah.
But we also, at the same time, had a pastor in a couple of counties over saying that was satanic, it was evil, it needed to be taken down and all this.
But they've been saying this for 40 years. It's nothing new.
That's true. That is very true. But I guess somebody the right person heard it, or right people heard it or whatever, and got a hold to explosives and so forth, and followed through with what was suggested about taking them down.
They sure did. Yeah. No sooner did she say it than they came down.
That's it. And but we do have replicas of our.
Let's take a look.
The smaller ones here. But we do have the literature that was on them also in all the languages.
Right.
All the way through. And we got the picture, of course. But it come to find out, the Granite Association, back when they was somewhat popular, had some Japanese tourists come through, or Japanese dignitaries or whatever, and they sent a replica, about 5-6 foot replica of the Guidestone.
Right, there was
to
like
Japan,
a sister city that had another.
to Japan.
Right, so they had something like this.
Yes, they had well about my height or whatever, but had the same lettering and wording on it also. So
Right.
so it's in Japan. So
Yeah.
if you ever get to Japan, check it out. So
I may have to. I've made enough videos about the Guidestones, so the place I haven't been is Japan. So as of now, they're obviously not on display here in the museum.
not at this moment.
But is the plan to eventually have at least part of them?
Rumor has it that the part of them will be put out in the front part of the museum, down on the lower side where the grassy area are.
So outside.
But they'll be outside, but it will be fenced in, roughly 8 to 10 foot fence around it.
Yep.
So so the law won't have to sit here and worry about it all the time. So,
Right. I mean,
so if you're going to throw something, you got to be able to throw it over 10 foot high. So
even the pieces are still controversial,
yes,
even though they're
very.
not standing anymore.
Yes, definitely. I mean, it just takes a few words to change people's mind.
Yeah.
And the biggest words, I guess, on the thing that really upset everybody is the population.
Right.
I think it was 500 million.
500 million.
500 million to repopulate after a nuclear destroy
Right.
or some kind of massive destruction, and to reorganize and to put people back under civilization, I guess.
Sure. Well, I mean, in the 80s in that time, and I'm old enough to remember, there was a lot of panic, and there were
yes.
songs
Oh,
about
yes.
us getting blown up by nuclear
yes.
weapons, and
yes.
we all expected it to happen any day. So
And-
that was what people were thinking
Yeah,
about back then.
Oh yes, definitely.
And that's what this monument was, to say, hey, if it actually happens and someone pushes the button, this is how I think, we should rebuild
It's
society.
just one man's money and one man's thoughts. So
I believe you are telling the truth. I even
pretty
think
much-
I know who that man is, but that's neither here nor there.
Yeah. Well, we have, there again, rumors that said it was a bunch of people got together and
Right.
sent one guy to do it, and he would not give his name either.
Right.
He was in charge of it. So, but there again, who knows?
Yeah.
Everybody's going to have doubts and wonders and so forth.
Sure.
That's part of life, just to keep you growing.
Yep.
Keep you thinking anyway.
All right, so you don't have to tell me, but do you know where they are?
No.
Somebody's got to know where they are.
Well,
And I can't imagine they're too far. How far do they want to move
They're in a
them?
very secure location right
Right,
now, so
right.
that's best we could say. It's in a they're there.
And do we think they're going to stay in this secure location until the crime is solved, or how long it's going to be?
Well, it's kind of more like until things calm down or people forget they were there to start with. And, to have not have people walking through different parts of Elbert County trying to blow up different parts of Elbert County trying to figure it out.
Yeah, that wouldn't be good.
So that definitely wouldn't be good. But yes, we also had rumors that some of the rock sheds are trying to get together and fix the one stone that was broken and put them back.
Right.
But there again, that's rumors. So we'll leave that at that.
I don't see that happening.
No.
I think the people who put them up are not around anymore, and there's no motivation or money to put them back where they were.
Well, it was a good draw for Elbert County for its tourism and all, and the wording is not the only thing that was on the stones. You have the solar part where the slots and the holes and stuff in it. At certain times of the day or whatever, you could stand there in a certain spot and you could tell what month it was.
Right, it was like Stonehenge.
Yes, basically, yes. And at night, you could look through a hole and find a North Star and stuff like that. There's different things that was going on with it. It wasn't just about the wording of the stone.
Right.
So whoever designed and put it together was thinking more all the way around than just his opinion, I guess.
And and it displayed the great work of the people of Elberton. I mean,
Definitely.
to take on a huge project like that.
For that length, the height of stone to be one solid stone 4 times around, and then the center to be cut and carved and to be placed the way they were. It took a lot of people
Absolutely.
and a lot of thinking about to get it to where you could see what he wanted, the vision, I guess.
Yep.
His vision. So.
Has anyone thought about selling the pieces? I mean, you could probably make a few bucks just chipping off the pieces.
They probably could, but there again, why destroy something that somebody else paid for for the museum could use the money. I mean,
sure.
We're not backed by the government or anything like that. So basically, we live on donations from people that come in, or we don't charge anything to come in the museum, so it's free admission. But if you want to drop a couple of bucks, say this is a donation, it's appreciated. And also, we are backed by the Granite Association, which is backed by the granite industry.
Gotcha.
So
have you seen the documentary where they name the guy who was supposed to be the one behind it?
No, I haven't.
Okay, well, it's out there, and they think they know who it is.
Okay, I'll definitely have to check it out.
They say it's a doctor who lived in Iowa who had relatives or family in Georgia who somehow discovered this area and decided this is where he wanted to place his monument.
Okay.
And if you read his obituary, it's very similar, the wording, to what's on the Guidestones, where he talks about controlling the population and living in harmony with nature and similar things. Yeah. Like it was almost like a clue. They were saying, all right, we're not going to tell you, but we're going to say similar things that were on the Guidestones. And if you look,
Definitely.
So who knows? All right, well, show me Dutchie. I can't come here for nothing.
Dutchie's all the way in the back here.
So this is the other celebrity in Elberton, other than Bruce.
No, definitely not me. For sure. But Dutchie is supposed to have been a Civil War monument, and
here he is laying in rest.
He was built in put up on the square in 1892. In 1900, he was pulled down. The reason they said it was basically because he looked like a Pennsylvania Dutchman. And so his nickname became Dutchie. They said he was between the people at that time coming back from war looked at him and said that, he's not a Confederate.
You look more like you should be in the Union Army.
Thank you. The trench coat gives it away. It is that is built like a heavy wool coat. The Confederate soldiers never wore heavy wool coats. They had the short jackets, and if you was up in the ranks, you had a duster, the little thin, like a windbreaker trench coat type thing. But this was a heavy wool coat that was built, carved into him as a heavy coat. So the Confederate soldiers, everybody's saying that the Confederate soldiers come back, and when they did, they pulled him down after 2 years of looking at him and buried him where he fell.
Well, the coat protected him pretty well because he was under the ground for how long?
From 1900 to 1982. The museum was built in 81. They got permission to dig him up, and in 82 they dug him up, took him to the local car wash, and washed him. I think one of those, that picture right there, what says Dutchie, he's been pushed through a car wash right there. So he's going through the car wash there to get cleaned, and then he come back here.
And here he is.
And they're supposed to have some kind of Civil War thing going on out toward California here soon. So he might be on the way out to California.
All right.
He might get a tour out that way. So if you get to see him, say, hey, Dutchie.
Dutchie gets around.
He's one of the more popular people that didn't hang around long in public. So.
Well, at least he's above ground, so.
Yes, definitely.
This granite statue was the very first monument manufactured in Elberton nearly 100 years ago. In fact, the first granite plant here was built especially so the local townspeople could have their own Confederate memorial, erected on Elberton Public Square in 1898.
Well, thank you to Bruce, and signing off from the City Square in Elberton, the former resting place of old Dutchie. I think this is the guy up here who replaced him, and that's what they got now. All right, we had a great time down here in Elberton, and hopefully we'll be able to see the Guidestones again someday in some shape or form. Remains to be seen, so stay tuned.